Hello everyone, my name is Dana Clark and I'm with the Nordyne Technical Service Department. Today I'd like to talk to you about the sequence of operation for the G7 and the PGC2 gas furnaces. The sequence of operation can be broken down into 10 very basic steps. Those 10 basic steps are a very useful tool that any service technician out in the field should have in their toolbox, so to speak, when you are installing or performing any repair work of a Nordyne product in the field. Step 1 of the sequence of operation for a Nordyne gas furnace is that the circuit board must receive a call for heat from the thermostat. This will be a 24-volt signal down to the W terminal of the control board. The second step in the sequence of operation is that the circuit board makes a very quick check to see if the pressure switch is in an open position and that all the safety limits are closed. The third step in the sequence of operation is that the inducer motor will then energize. The fourth step after the inducer energizes will be that the pressure switch will close. When the circuit board recognizes that the pressure switch has closed, we then go into the igniter warm-up sequence. The sixth step in the sequence of operation will be that the gas valve will energize and open. We then deliver gas through the gas train down to the burners, where we actually will have ignition, which is the seventh step. The eighth step will be that the flame that travels over the flame sensor located towards the back of the burner compartment will produce a signal back to the circuit board, and that is what we refer to as proving flame. The ninth step in the sequence of operation after we've proven flame will be that the blower motor will then start. Once the blower motor starts, the last and final step is that the furnace cycles, and it will continue to run and produce heat until the thermostat is satisfied. Once the thermostat satisfies, then we will go through the post-purge sequence and the furnace will shut down. Now that we know the 10 basic steps of the sequence of operation for a gas furnace, let's actually look at each individual step a little more in depth. These will help assist any technician out in the field performing any installation or service work of Nordyne product. Step 1 is that the circuit board must receive a call for heat from the thermostat. We're going to simulate that call today by use of a jumper wire. Jumpers can be very handy out in the field to do diagnostic and service work. Please just always remember that you remove any jumpers that you do use inside the furnace for your diagnostic work before you end the service call. So we'll simulate that now. I'm going to place one side of the jumper on the R terminal of the circuit board and the other side of the jumper on the W1 terminal of the circuit board. Once we have our jumper in place, we are simulating a 24-volt signal from the thermostat down onto the W terminal of the control board. The second step is that the furnace control board will now check to see if the pressure switch is actually in an open position. It will also check and verify that all of the safety limits inside the furnace are closed. If the pressure switch is open and the limits are closed, then the inducer motor will energize. If the pressure switch begins in a closed position at the start of a cycle for heat, the circuit board will recognize that and it will produce a pressure switch closed fault on the diagnostic LEDs on the circuit board. The green LED will be on and the red LED will flash. If one of the safety limit switches is open at the start on a call for heat, the board will also recognize that the diagnostic LEDs will produce a code with an open limit switch fault. The green LED will flash and the red LED will remain off. When the inducer is energized for a 30-second pre-purge sequence, the pressure switch has 10 seconds to close. If the pressure switch does not close within 10 seconds, The control board, using the diagnostic LEDs, will produce a pressure switch open fault. The green LED will flash and the red LED will be on. If the pressure switch does not close within 60 seconds once the inducer has started, then the inducer motor will de-energize for a 5-minute time period before it begins another ignition trial. When the 30-second pre-purge is complete, the board will send power down to the igniter for the igniter warm-up sequence. The amount of time that the igniter actually receives power and warms up is based on the smart light feature that all Nordyne gas furnaces have built into the control board. When power is first applied to the furnace, the igniter warm-up time is 30 seconds. Each successive ignition cycle is decreased by 3 seconds until the minimum warm-up time on the igniter is 9 seconds. If there is a failed ignition at any time in that sequence, the warm-up time on the igniter will then go up by 3 seconds. Once we warm up and increase the time on the igniter and we receive a successful ignition, that ignition warm-up time will remain fixed for 250 consecutive ignition heating cycles. When the igniter warm-up time has been reached, the control board will then send power to the gas valve and energize the gas valve with 24 volts. When the gas valve is energized, it will open and allow gas to travel into the fuel train and to the burners themselves. The control board will send power to the gas valve. The valve will open for 3 seconds, and the furnace control board will then de-energize the igniter. Once we have ignition, the gas valve and the inducer will remain on. Then we look to prove flame. The gas valve and the inducer will remain on if the flame sensor successfully proves flame with flame rectification. If the flame is not sensed by the flame sensor back to the furnace control board, the board will then de-energize the gas valve and will try to restart the ignition cycle. If the flame is present and we have successfully proven flame back to the control board, 20 seconds later, then the blower motor will energize and begin to operate. Once the 20-second time has passed, the motor will start on the programmed blower heat speed. The furnace will continue to run as long as there is a call for heat present at the furnace control board. The heat will shut down if the call from the thermostat is lost, or if the pressure switch opens, or if one of the limit safety switches opens, or if there is a loss of flame detected by the flame sensor. When the thermostat call for heat is satisfied, the furnace control board will remove power to the gas valve. The inducer motor will go through a 30-second post-purge sequence, and the blower will remain on for the selected heat speed, whether it be 60, 90, 120, or 180 seconds that you can select at the furnace control board. If the flame is not proven on the first trial for ignition, the gas valve will shut down and the inducer will run for the 30-second post-purge sequence. After that time, the igniter will then re-energize and we'll try again for another ignition. If by the 5th attempt for ignition, if we do not successfully prove flame, the furnace control will display a 1-hour lockout fault and will shut the furnace down for 1 hour. If one of the pressure switches opens for more than 1 second after flame has been proven, the unit will go through its post-purge shutdown procedure and the blower will go through its normal blower off delay. If the call for heat is still received at the furnace control board from the thermostat, the unit will then begin another ignition cycle. If the pressure switch opens for more than 1 second during a pre-purge, the furnace board will wait for the pressure switches to reclose. The purge time restarts when the pressure switch closes. If the limit opens with a call for heat, the gas valve will de-energize, the inducer will continue to run, and the blower motor will continue to run on the selected heating speed. If the switch resets itself, the furnace control board will begin another ignition sequence. One important note, on the two-stage furnaces, they will actually prove flame and fire in high fire. Once they have successfully proven flame, the two-stage furnace will then drop back to low fire. Once the two-stage product has proven flame and drops back to low fire, it will then wait for another signal from the thermostat onto W2, or it will stage itself back up to high fire using the auto stage jumper feature on the circuit control board. Once the furnace has stepped up to high fire, it will remain in high fire until the thermostat satisfies and ends the call for heat. Another important note is that the modulating gas furnace product will prove flame at step 6. Once flame has been proven, then the furnace will modulate to the proper step. All Nordyne gas furnaces follow the same basic sequence of operation. There are some very few minor differences, but those 10 basic steps that we talked about earlier are the key to understanding and being able to easily diagnose any possible malfunctions that you may see out in the field. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for participating, and I look forward to seeing you again at another Lunch and Learn session.